Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. My name is Vladimir, and I'm CEO and founder of SpawnX. And we develop and sell mushroom city farms as a business. And one moment, yeah. And this is a pack of shiitake. Yeah, obviously, there is no reason to bring a live one to an online pitch. That's why it is only an image. So do you know how much work it is put here in a package of mushrooms that you buy every day from the store? Probably not, because nobody knows anything about mushroom production. And neither did I when I was starting this business. Me and my wife started our startup as a conventional small-scale mushroom farm back in Russia with no employees at all, and grew it to an industrial scale facility producing 10 tons of mushrooms per month with consistent deliveries and profits. And we started to sell the farms themselves afterwards. And now I know how difficult this business actually is. So basically, normally the shelf life period of one package of mushrooms is 10 days, and most of it is spent on the logistics. This means that on the farm, I should harvest, package, and deliver to the retail in one day. And due to logistics failures, climate issues, human factor, you can lose up to 50% of your yield. And for example, substrate contamination can force you to close the farm, sterilize it, pinpoint the mistake in your business process and restart it, and it can take you 3 to 4 months. On the other hand, retailers, obviously, they do not care. They want only deliveries according to the orders and forecast. And if you deliver less, you get penalties. So all the farms in the world now work on full capacity and just try to sell everything from their farm each day, every day. This is a nightmare job. And this is why even from huge facilities, 40% of the mushrooms in the world are sold below net cost from the farm. And this is why there is not enough producers now on the growing mushroom market. There is a really small number of specialists who can build and run mushroom farms with profits. That's why we started SpawnX. We developed a sustainable, modular, scalable system that consists of our own substrate preparation machine, ventilation system, and growing room, farm automation software, and planning software. With it, we can match the yield and the sales forecast with 90% accuracy in 6 months in the 6 months period for the future. And we reduce all the technical risks of the farms to zero. So basically, as a buyer of our farms, you do not need to have any special knowledge to run it, only management skills and flow of orders. Nothing to know about mushroom growing. And this is mushroom farming as a service, and this way we can grow the number of mushroom producers exponentially. Because of such a fast turnover period of mushrooms on the farms, flow of orders is required to start this business. This is why we first partner with retailers, such as, for example, Spar and the Revi Group in Austria, where we are located now. They cover, so basically we suggest them that we can cover their demand in locally produced mushrooms in every region. And they give us these demands, and we find a local farmer to actually sell our farm. And this is a win-win situation for everybody. Retailers get their ultra fresh mushrooms.
1 minute warning.
Yeah, the farmers get high marginal business, and we get the sales of the farms. We charge only one-time fee for the hardware and its installation. Hardware is produced in series on contract factories, and installation is carried out by our partners. Then on monthly basis, we supply the farm with substrate and mycelium, which are essential consumables for the farms. And basically, we produce them ourselves, and this way we generate recurring revenue for our company with big margin. In the future, we will switch also to the leasing model. So yeah, everything is possible with our brilliant team. And basically, we started in Russia and managed to escape the war, like with borders closing behind our backs. And now we are located in Austria with the whole team. And we are on pre-seed round. We are raising money to build the first, basically.
And time is up.
Yeah, in Graz. Thank you.
And yeah, as a caveat, if they fail, they have to go back to Russia, and he has army orders. So just to add a little bit to the actual what's on the table, so to speak. So let me bring in the other panelists. Tina, do you wanna start this time and share a little bit more on questions?
Should I
thank
stop
you so
the
much.
presentation?
Yeah, you can stop the screen share.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation, Vladimir. It's very interesting to really build the business from your knowledge of being the farmers. How big is your current revenue and market traction?
So basically in Russia, where we ended up in Russia in the February 2022, we had our own farm of 500 square meters producing 10 tons of mushrooms per month. Two pilots going on. Mushroom farm produced around 50,000 euro recurring revenue monthly with 20K of profits before tax. And pilots were worth around 400,000 euro each, with projected recurring revenue for our company 150,000 euro per year. This is the economics will be the same in Europe, but we closed all our business in Russia and needed to escape the war. So for now, we do not have any recurring revenue. We only just here from December. Now we just we received an approval of banking loan. So basically we can start with establishing our farm. Within 10 months from now, we can build our farm and it will generate around 10 to 15 tons of mushrooms per month with recurring revenue of 100 to 150K per month and around 15 to 20% of profits. And we have around 20 pre-orders from DACH region, Canada, United Arab Emirates for the farm themselves, each one worth around 400,000K with the same recurring revenue per year, around 150,000 or so.
I think the pitch deck probably have to be polish a little bit more so we get to see like what your revenue projection gonna look like for these opportunities. So to be clear, I think right now you are in the process of starting up a new business model that you're not only gonna be producing mushroom yourself, but actually will sell hardware plus software as a service for other people to grow mushroom. So that's a new group.
So basically, when we're talking about farm sales, our main business model is to sell the mycelium actually that we produce by ourselves on our farm. This is the consumable for the farms, but basically it is the mushroom seeds. And this is our main recurring revenue stream. Obviously, for that, we need to cover hardware and software. And we do not produce the hardware. We just sell it from the contract factories with a small markup of 15 to 20%. And yes, to sell a farm, I need to be operating one farm per world or per region. So one farm per Europe and, for example, one farm per US. So that VCs and customers for my farms can see that the unit economics works, everything is nice looking, everything works. That's why, obviously, we start with own mushroom production. And after 10 months, we start this mushroom production, and basically it feeds all the R&D team. And we are a profitable company. We are not bound in timing to the next rounds, although we will obviously do that and raise next rounds to expand more quickly.
To clarify, how many of the mushroom farms didn't you say you sold some of the mushroom farms while you were in Russia to Russian?
In Russia, we had 2 agreements with 2 retailers. So basically Metro Cash and Carry, which we're also approaching here in DACH region. They wanted to actually buy a farm to place near their warehouse, so we run it. and they get the exact negotiated net cost of the mushrooms really next door to their warehouse. I do not think that it will be the case in Europe, and mostly the retailers won't go into production themselves. But this is the case. The second one was with Magnit, the biggest Russian retail chain. The deal was actually the same scheme that we are introducing here. So basically, they give us demand in each region where they have uncovered demand in locally produced mushrooms, and we cover that with our farms, or by building them by ourselves, or finding a buyer for the farm.
Do you have a team to go to market in Europe?
For the marketing side and for the business side, I'm the only one for now who is responsible for the business part, but we'll also already have strong advisors. For example, Michael Stelzel, he is CEO of the biggest food attestation lab in Austria and possibly in DACH region. And basically, with his help, we're going into retailers. And basically that's it, because it is B2B personal sales mostly. Mushroom farming is a small world for now in Europe and US. It has a potential to grow like 200-300% more. But it is like in Austria, there are only 5 mushroom farms. That's all. And we can build another 50 because the demand is there. And only, for example, in Austria, 11% of mushrooms are produced in the country. Others are imported. And we can replace everything with local production, which is really cool for local consumer.
I have a question regarding your competitive environment. So you mentioned that kind of in some countries, there aren't a lot of mushroom farms, so it's difficult to do it in a profitable way. But what kind of mushrooms can you grow? Any kind of mushrooms, and B, again, what are your, in a bit more detail, what are your USPs versus your competitors? Because I can see a lot of parallels to, for example, the insect kind of farms that are now, it's getting quite popular right now. There's a lot of startups doing like black soldier fly farming, and then you have, of course, the vertical farms growing different kinds of crops. So you get into those nitty-gritty details then about kind of, your business model might be your advantage, but it might be the technology. So I would like to hear your views on that. And second question is regarding kind of what are the 3 top things that could derail you from executing your business plan apart from financing or funding?
So let's start with a little look through the market. So basically 80% of mushroom market in the world are champignons, and 80% of mushroom production market is located in Asia. There are many competitors there. We are talking not about farms, because our parts of our systems can be sold to farms. For example, hardware, mycelium, software, the existing, even big mushroom producers can buy this from us. And basically we had pilots with existing mushroom farmers in Russia, where we basically automated the low-tech mushroom farm, and they increased their efficiency like 3 times in 3 months. Mm-hmm. And basically that's in China, in Asia, there are many hardware producers for mushroom farming. But there is no other company in the world that is producing a turnkey solution for mushroom farming that is covering everything with the production planning, automation, hardware, and microbiology such as mycelium and so on. Thanks to all of these innovations, because we invented our own substrate machine, our own climate control units, our own algorithms for production planning. Nobody plans the production of mushroom farms for now. They just operate on full capacity each day. And basically, the average margin of mushroom farms everywhere, in even giant facilities, is 10% per month. We have from 20 to 35%, depending on labor costs in each country. In Russia, we had 35-40%. In Austria, we are looking into 20-25%. And yes, we can grow any types of mushrooms. that are industrially cultivated. This means that we can't grow truffles, for example. They do the symbiosis with the tree, and this can't be done indoors way. And then there is another part of competitors who are possible competitors for city farming companies, but they are not, because mushrooms do not do photosynthesis. They do breathing a lot. And basically on 3,000 square meter farm of salads, you can just open a window and you will be okay. For each 500 cubic meters of air of growing room for mushrooms, I will be pumping in 15,000 cubic meters of air every hour to reduce the CO2 levels. And I need to do that with the margin of error of 1% humidity, or I will lose my yield. So basically, there is really different engineering going on in this field, in insect farming, in mushroom farming, in city farming, and direct competitors we have none. But obviously, the hardware producers, the mycelium providers from Asia, and the software providers from Netherlands, there are two companies there, are part of our competition.
Thank you. And
yes, the second question, sorry. Yeah, so basically the main thing here is obviously it is a city farming startup. And there are two questions with these kind of city farming companies. First of all, if we can scale it quick enough to generate actual exponential growth. We are not sure with that. And basically, as soon as it is B2B business with big checks, we can stumble upon scaling. We still will be operationally profitable company and we will grow, but we can fail to scale exponentially. And the next thing, that's obviously on this market, there is no end buyer for our company. In the city that we have a decade already for developing city farming companies. And basically there are two models of sort of an exit for them. First of all, going to IPO, and basically many of them did it. And the second one, to on some scale to convert yourself to a production company, because nobody wants to buy your company. This is all profitable ways, but it can be an issue for a VC.
Thank you. I appreciate the open and honest answer.
Well, it could also be an exit to an ABB or Bühler, so companies that produce food production or food manufacturing equipment.
Possibly, but there is no like Facebook and Google that can buy you out in this field. When you have, for example, when you are operational in Europe and US and have big international business, there is no such a player. The other like idea of it, the main like all ultra fresh segments in all countries in the world are now delivered to retail under retail brands. There is no, you can't name the brand of the salads or mushrooms that you buy every day. So basically, this is because nobody can assure that they will deliver consistently with the consistent quality, and they take different suppliers for different weeks. And basically, if we build such a brand, but this is not like our main business, and I'm not an expert in brand strategy, yeah. But if we build such a brand internationally, then we can sell it to Unilever, for example. So it is a possible way, but there is much work to be done on this way.
You could also sell to Bayer or Rausch if you made these into magic mushrooms for countries where magic mushrooms are being legalized, because you need some consistent way to produce those and have kind of factory or lab scale quality.
Yeah, you are perfectly right. This is like, for example, not only magical mushrooms, but like dietary supplements mushrooms. These are another market. They are grown on the same conditions, like with the same net cost of 1 kilogram, but they have much higher retail prices. So basically, we can do that where it is legal. In Austria, we can do dietary supplements market mushrooms, and we are looking forward to legalizing psilocybin mushrooms in like 5 years. But obviously for now, this is a US market for that.
You might be able to as well have kind of micro exits by selling off brand. You sell off the US division to Kroger, you sell off the European division to Tesco or whatever that happens to be, so they can cut their costs on their mushroom production.
Yeah, it is a nice idea because we didn't thought about it. This is a good one.
Why wouldn't the unit economics be much more interesting if you would sell the mushrooms yourself rather than selling the equipment?
This is a question more about my own like ambitions as a founder, because when selling mushroom farms as a service, I can scale up really fast. But when I am like doing the retail strategy, for example, this is a possible strategy for us. Like I buy land, then put a building, then get a loan for using this building as a collateral for my business, and do it like over and over again in different countries. My way to like being a major player in mushroom farming in Europe and US will take me around 30 years. But when I'm selling mushroom farms as a service, I can do it within 10 years. And this is what I'm intentionally want to do, because 30 years is too much for me.
Understood. Thanks.
If we gave you $100 million today, what would you do?
Nobody would give it me, but this is a good question. We already talked with you, Matt, about exiting. Obviously, for now, as soon as we're migrants and we can't go back to our own country, because all male members of our team, me included, got mobilization invoices. That means that as soon as cross the border of Russia, I will be sent straight to Ukrainian war. And that's why we can't go back, actually. And that's why our current ambitions are really small. We want to establish ourselves in new country in the next 1 or 2 years and build a sustainable business that can feed us and our families. But this doesn't mean that we won't scale up to the whole world. And obviously with 100 million, I would consider exiting this business. But I think it is really interesting to do it, and I will still do it.
Oh no, I meant 100 million investment. What would you do to scale the company?
That's cool thing. My plans extend only to tens of millions. So I would basically, as soon as we know our unit economics, we know that it is working, although like we need to prove that on different labor costs in different countries, but we already ran the farm and this is really easy for us to do now. We would open several divisions in several countries to just start on different markets simultaneously. This is firstly Europe and US. And then we will actually really strengthen our R&D department, because the main market for us, although US and Europe has no competition and we can scale up pretty quickly, the main market is Asia, and there are many producers there. But to enter Asian market, we need strong IP protection. We need to develop the actual optimization of all processes of the farm, so we can go farm by farm in Asia and tell them look, do like that, you will get 30% less losses and costs, and you will increase your profits by 20%. And that will be selling really good in Asia. And that's what I will be doing with this money.
So a lot of stuff that you do in your kind of system, like climate control, humidity control, production control, all of that, production planning, sorry, that could also be, of course, a good value proposition for a lot of other kind of use cases or applications, not just mushrooms, of course. We mentioned insect farming, some other things. So have you kind of considered, do you consider doing the kind of adjacent markets to mushrooms in the future? Any crops or plants?
We can't do plants because it is a wholly different story. So we do not have lights on the farms. We just simulate the night and day for mushrooms, and that's all. We do not do photosynthesis and so on. That's why actually the electricity bill for us is only 3% of the unit economics of the farms, and in city farming it can be 30. So possibly insect farming, but we just haven't explored that yet. We thought about it, but we haven't time to explore that. Obviously, the ERP system can be adjusted because it is a prediction model, like for example, SAP, and basically it can be sold to other industries, but we for now do not know the exact applications.
Gotcha. Thank you.